Hi, I'm Matt Marvoglio, Dean of the Performance Division at Berklee, and I have with me today Rick Peckham, who's the Assistant Chair of the Guitar Department. Rick, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, about how you've come to Berklee and your background, whatever.
Okay, I've got to Berklee in 1986, so I've been here over 20 years, so I'm one of the new guys here. Before that, I was studying and playing down in Texas. I studied at University of North Texas, and before that, I was in Ohio, where I'm originally from. Really, from high school on, I was out and playing, and got my master's at North Texas, and played as a professional player alongside of learning about the instrument too.
Over the years, what kinds of courses have you been teaching?
At Berklee, I started teaching ear training classes, and I moved on to teach some improvisation classes. All the time I was doing ensembles as well. I did classes dedicated to the music of Thelonious Monk and John Scofield.
And had ensembles too, right?
Yeah,
Monk
that's right.
Ensemble.
That's
and
right.
Scofield
Yeah.
Ensemble.
And there were some. Also, I organized some honorary doctoral tributes for Jack Dejohnette, and that was memorable because Kurt Rosenwinkel was playing guitar in that band, as well as Antonio Hart. He was in there, and
Kurt
Abel
studied
Jr.
at Berklee, right?
He did, yeah. Kurt,
as well as Antonio.
That's right. And also honorary doctorate tributes for Roy Haynes and Joe Zawinul too. It was great. But I've been in the guitar department since 1991. That's what I've been doing mainly since then.
And a new venture for you is teaching online, right? You have a course with Berklee Music where you're teaching guitar online.
Yeah, it's called Berklee Guitar Chords 101. And yeah, that's the title we came up with, and it fits pretty well. It's been doing very well.
How many guitar courses are online now?
I think there are about 6 or 7 guitar courses online. There are some. There's one in scales that Larry Bayonne teaches. There's a classic rock style. So the idea is really to get the scales and chords together, and then there are some stylistic offerings as well. So there's a jazz improvisation for guitar taught by Bruce Saunders, classic rock by Joe Musella, blues taught by Mike Williams. There are a bunch of classes online.
Man, you're
also
prepared. You know all these. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm used to doing the chats. We do the chats every week, and a lot of times the students want to talk about the other classes. Yeah.
That's great. What is it like teaching guitar online rather than teaching it in a private lesson studio?
It seems funny to think about at first, but you know, there are things in private lesson in that dynamic that are possible that are not possible in a group lesson format. We call it labs at Berklee. Online, there are other things that are possible that aren't possible in either one.
Like what?
For example, everybody's called on to perform every assignment every week. Usually when you're in a class, you can lay a little bit low.
And you could hear each other's assignments.
That's another part of it too. Not only does everybody perform every week, everybody has access to everybody else's assignments, so you get to hear what they did.
What is it like for communication in the class then? Is it different than if you're doing it real time per se? You know, the brick and mortar teaching that we do around here where you're online. Is there a different kind of camaraderie among the students or a different kind of communication or whatever?
It's definitely different. Of course, the global landscape that's there, to have these chats involved where there's somebody from Singapore at the same time as Madrid and Paris and Arizona. So it's a real global community that's involved. Certainly nothing that's possible anyplace else. Also, there are a lot of people that are studying online that it's just not practical for them to travel to Boston or to any place other than where they live. And they're able to do what they do where they live and get better at the instrument, all the while interacting with these other musicians all over the world.
Could you give us a preview of maybe some of the exercises or things you have students do in your class? I mean, where do you begin?
We begin with this where we talk about just spelling the triads. There's an exercise actually where I have a drum machine going, and we take through the cycle 4. That's going through the circle of fifths, the other way. That's the way guitarists like to look at it anyway. Guitarists are always going the opposite direction. But where people will, like, this is a C major triad, so the drum machine is going, and I say C major, C, E, G, and then F, 3, 4, F, A, C. You know, and then
so it starts very basic.
Yeah, very basic. Then we start cranking through various ways of organizing seventh chords.
When you call it 101, does that mean there's no previous experience needed, or you have to own a guitar and more than that?
Yeah, definitely. You have to have more than the receipt.
What do you expect them to do to be prepared for the class?
We ask them to have 1 or 2 years of experience on the instrument before they take the course. There may be other courses added later that'll address this, but for right now, we ask that they have the experience. It's really quite a lot that's being asked, since the way people post assignments is they have to record what they're learning new material, and then they're playing it on their instrument. They got to work it up and then get it squeezed into an MP3, so that the other participants and I can hear what they're playing.
So do you have any advice to students who want to venture forth in the virtual world of learning guitar? I mean,
well, it's a very interesting world. I along with everybody else, I wondered how we were going to do it, and it's turned out to be a very exciting thing, because people are able to take 12 weeks and really crank through a lot of material and get a lot of material under their fingers. Also, to learn something in a lesson, let's say if you're studying in a music store, you go from week to week and you really only have to answer to the one teacher. Whereas this, you're answering to everybody else in the section, other 18 or 19 people. You're learning new material, and you're not just learning about it so that you can play it someday. You're learning about it and putting it under your fingers right then, and recording it. Also, I think a terrific thing about it is in the world now, online presence is very, very important. The YouTube and MySpace, these sorts of things, where word of mouth is not as important as having access to a web presence and having a web presence. So I'm very comfortable with the idea of students getting their sound into the computer. Used to be that people really were only responsible for the sound that they got with their instrument, and if they happened to wander into a recording studio, then it was on the engineer to get the sound that the person was doing. The engineer had to get the sound. Now I think we're to a different point where not only is the guitarist responsible for their own sound, but they're responsible for the sound that's coming out of the earbuds on somebody's iPod on the other end. I mean, you just threw the whole production line because of all the technology that's available. There's so many digital recording things and digital audio workstations that seem to really climb into the DNA of most guitarists anyway, so it's a natural thing for them to get involved with.
Has this given you other ideas of using online resources on campus?
It definitely has. I see it as a real complement. It would never take the place of one-on-one instruction or even being with a live group of people. But the infinite patience of the computer, the infinite capacity to repeat and loop things with computers, make it so that the computer is waiting for you to get it, and you will get it if you stick with it. You know, so you have to have it pared down and broken down to the point where it's not just impossible. But if you do have access to a good course online that has things in a sequential order, that you're building skills, there's no way that people can stop you from learning.
And your course recently won an award, right? Your online course.
That's right. The UCEA, which is some international board that's involved with online teaching, named Chords 101 the best online course, not just music, but online, period. And it's very appreciative of that recognition.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, thanks. It was the whole team here was great. The BerkleeMusic.com put tons of stuff around what I presented, and BerkleeMusic.com and Debbie Cavalier they were responsible for submitting it for it to be considered for the award. So I appreciate all the support there too.
Well, thanks so much.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.